Welcome back, everybody, to the channel, Greatness in the Deep. You know what this channel is all about? It's about spiritual things. We talk about deep things. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Subscribe and leave a like and leave a comment. And let's jump into what we want to talk about. What's the difference between rich and the poor? What is the difference between rich and poor people? How does the Spirit deal differently with the rich and the poor? Is there even a difference? Does God even care? Does the Spirit care? Well, let's search this out. There's an example that you might read if you ever read in the book of John chapter 3. You'll find out that Jesus is dealing with a man named Nicodemus. Nicodemus was a rich man. He was a man of high class. He was a very religious man, religious and well-respected man. But Nicodemus came to him and had some questions. He recognized who Jesus was, but he was obviously blind. Didn't matter how much money he had. Now, remember when Jesus makes a point and says that if you want to enter or even see the kingdom of heaven, you must be born again of the water and of the Spirit. Now, he didn't understand that. He said, okay, how do you be born again? Do you got to enter into your mother's womb again for the second time? And so Jesus looks at him and says, that which is flesh, and that which is spirit. So in other words, he's trying to tell him, hey, you need to open up your mind a little bit, because you're looking at things on the surface, Nicodemus. You're looking at life at the surface, and you need to dig a little bit deeper and try to understand what I'm telling you. What does that mean? What that means is that no matter how much money you have, no matter how successful you think you are in the business world, no matter how great of a reputation you have, if you don't dive deep to what the Spirit is trying to tell you, you're going to miss out on some eternal blessings. You're going to miss out on your eternal reward if you never take the time to open your mind and heart and receive what the Spirit has for you. Now, that's what Nicodemus was dealing with at that moment. And Jesus was looking at him a little bit harsh. He was showing tough love to Nicodemus because he said, aren't you a teacher of the scriptures? He says, and you don't even know what I'm talking about, Nicodemus? That is the way Jesus was dealing with the rich man. Why? Because to whom much is given, much is required. Let's go to John chapter 4. You'll find out that Jesus is now being led by the Spirit. He's being led by the Spirit into a place of Jacob's well. And a woman, a Samaritan woman, not a man, but a woman who were belittled at the time, who were looked down at the time, a Samaritan woman who was considered a dog to the Jews at the time, was going to meet Jesus at the well. This woman was not high class. This woman was not honored. This woman was not well respected. But Jesus was going to have a moment with this woman and reveal to her deep things. And he dealt with her very differently. And I'm going to share with you how he dealt with her. Now, she came to the well for what purpose? She came to draw water. Now, drawing water, Jesus asked her to give him a glass of water. That would be in our modern interpretation. But he really said, give me to drink. So, in asking for something to drink, they began to talk about things. And she is, remember, a poor woman. She's poor. She is a Samaritan woman. She's considered a dog. She has a bad reputation. She is looked down upon. She has been sleeping with several different men. She's not even married. At least not to all these men. She might be married to just one of them. So Jesus is revealing her life. He is revealing her sin. And then he comes to a place in John 4:24 when he tells her that God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. You can't just come and look for life and not have truth. You can't come to the well and dig for water without receiving truth. And so he is giving this woman truth, and he's giving her gold. It was a very deep theological message that he was revealing to her. She was despised. She was non-religious. She was poor. She was a stranger out of the Jewish custom. But she was received by Jesus Christ. She looked at Jesus and said, I know that the Messiah is coming, and when he comes, he will reveal to us all things. And then he said to her, Woman, I am he. He said, Woman, the one who speaks to you am he. Very different the way he was delivering his message to Nicodemus, the rich man, than to the Samaritan woman, a poor woman. She was with sin. She had nothing. Most of us wouldn't even want to talk to a poor person. But he spoke to her, and he revealed himself to her. He didn't reveal himself to Nicodemus. He tried to give Nicodemus a little bit of depth, but Nicodemus was too ignorant. A rich man, well respected. He comes at night. But during the day, when Jesus was putting his reputation on the line, talking to this poor woman, talking to this woman that has a bad reputation, a woman that's considered a dog. Jews don't even speak to Samaritans, but he began to speak and to reveal. And his final message was a revealing of himself. If you feel like you're going through hard times, if you feel like you're going through crisis, if you feel like you've never been anywhere in life so far, I don't know, if you might be 60, 70 years old and you feel like you never reached the place that the Spirit had for you or has for you, you have an advantage over others, believe it or not. Because there are moments in our life when we go through difficult times that the Spirit has us right where he wants us. And in those moments where you're broken, in those moments where you think the Spirit's not even listening to you, nobody's hearing you, he is hearing you. And when he hears you, he begins to minister to you, and he begins to reveal himself to you like he revealed himself to that woman. He didn't do that for Nicodemus. He didn't do that for a man with great reputation. He did it for the one that had nothing to lose. You need to ask yourself, are you stopping yourself from going deeper into the Spirit because you have too much to lose? Or are you the one that's so hungry that looks up into the heavens and talks to Jesus and says, Lord, I have nothing to lose. And you're speaking to the Spirit, and he's calling you right now. That's the way he deals with those that are poor, with those that are down and out. He embraces them. He shows them love and compassion. He gives them greater opportunities because you have nothing to lose. But for the ones that have much to lose and everything to lose, most of the times, they're not willing to go that deep because they don't want to risk what they have. That is the difference between a rich and a poor person. God bless you.